Joe, the portal is about to get absolutely nuts. We already started getting some news here, but Damien Martinez, the running back from Oregon State, is going to be in the portal. Probably right now the biggest name in the portal for this spring cycle. I know that you were really not excited, but you were really like, oh my God, I can't believe he's entering the portal. You are a massive fan of his. Your thoughts on Martinez from Oregon State hitting the portal?
Yeah, first of all, I tweeted this out, and I just want to re-acknowledge this. Just because a kid doesn't enter the portal right when his coach leaves does not mean he's not going to leave eventually. We do this whole
stupid graduate, might want to do. There's so many things that he might want to do.
We do this whole stupid bit where it's like, credit to him for sticking around. And I will never be one of those people who makes those comments because we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. He might just be trying to finish his degree and get out of there. We also don't know if his mind might change when a new coach comes in and all that stuff. It's a good point to bring up with somebody like Noah Fafita. It was a great example of somebody. I wouldn't be shocked if he entered the portal. Purely speculation. To specifically get on Damien Martinez, though, I would love to see one of these premier SEC or Big Ten teams invest in going to get him, because to me, a running back, specifically in college football, not in the NFL, college football, if you get a premier back who can take a lot of carries, who's got a big frame like Damien Martinez, you can take your offense to the complete next level. And I think a team, I know that Michigan State's in the mix because of his old head coach. That to me would be no fun because they're not going to be very good in 2024. I would love to see if he ended up at Miami, Ole Miss, or I think a really fun one that hasn't even been reported on that somebody commented, Missouri. Imagine him being the replacement for Cody Schrader.
They went and got
That's
Marcus
a good
Carroll, though, from Georgia State. I don't think that they're going to go get him.
Damien Martinez is better than Marcus Carroll. I get what you're saying. They did already make an investment on a running back.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they won't go get him or that he's not better. I'm just saying they made the investment. I think they're going to stick with him. I agree with you. Ole Miss is getting the Parrish kid back, which makes me believe that they might not go and get another one. Logan Diggs also went there, but Logan Diggs, which he keeps denying, but it's just false that he had an injury in that bowl game, and he's going to be out for a while. I wouldn't mind Ole Miss. Can I tell you, if you're going to say SEC teams, I think Tennessee's the perfect place for him. Outright perfect place for him because, look, they have a running back that is departing. They need a back with experience that needs carries, someone that could be in pass protection. I think Tennessee is a team that also either is going to offer or has offered him, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if that's not a good place for him. But, Joe, this feels to me, and I could be wrong here, anytime I see a kid after a coaching change, no matter when it is, why do I feel like this is Michigan State? Why do I feel like this got Michigan State written all over it? And I do think it would be a bad decision for him to go to Michigan State.
I think it's an easy gut decision just to sit here and say he's going to go play for his old coach. I think if he would have done that, he would have done it in the initial portal opening.
Maybe, again, I saw somebody said that he might have wanted to graduate or something like that. So, that could have been an outlier too.
I agree, though, with what you just pointed out here. Like, yeah, is it best for him wanting to stick with a guy who believed in him and when he was only a 3-star recruit, gave him the football and let him emerge as this budding star at a football program that typically doesn't produce premier talent? I just conversely think there are a couple of teams that are trying to go on this national championship run that could really benefit, and he could benefit in his draft stock and just stock in general as a college football player and his performance to hit the ground running, quite literally, pun intended. Tennessee, you mentioned, is a really good option. They're losing Jabari Small and Jalen Wright, so they're going to need somebody to take over. But I keep coming back to Miami, man. Like, could you imagine? I know that they've got some offensive line departures, but could you imagine with how well coached that offensive line is and some of the young guys there and Cam Ward and some of these receivers, how well that all could mesh together? That
would be dangerous.
That would be the best offense in the ACC, no questions asked.
I fully agree. I got to be real with you. I think that and we'll talk about Miami more after spring, but I think that they're a team that's going to can make a playoff. Like they're going to be it's either going to be hit or miss. It's going to be high expectations or bust for Miami. And I think that's going to be a good place. And they did offer him. I would lean Tennessee, though, in a lot of different ways because I know that Josh Heupel is not going to screw up offensive play calling. So, I mean, the kid could go to Miami and it just not work out for him. So, look, regardless, I think Oklahoma offered him too, Joe. If I'm not mistaken, they want to back too. I think that's really telling from them. I just think the kid could probably pick really anywhere he wanted to. If he wanted to go somewhere, he probably could. But he's a really talented back. Look, had a phenomenal year. Has really rose up the college football running back ranks, and a lot of people don't know him because a lot of people just don't watch Pac-12 football at night. And when we talked about Oregon State a lot last year, his name constantly came up, right? Or 2 years ago, whichever one. He constantly came up. So I think that he's going to be a good addition for somebody. I will tell you, I will admit this. I don't like a running back, though, transferring in spring and pass protections early in the season.
Come on. It's one of the easiest positions to pick up.
No, I understand that. I understand that. But I think that Heupel, I know for a fact that Kiffin, as an example, asks his running backs to do very difficult things in pass protection, which can, does he start a season off at the 2? Miami, he wouldn't have to do that. So I don't know.
I see the concern there, but again, I just I'd be more concerned of a quarterback stepping in, which is why I think that we see such little movement with quarterbacks in the second portal opening. Running back is the one position where it's like, okay, see the whole
plug play. You're right.
It's one of the positions where if you've got good vision, that's all you need. And I think he's displayed that plenty.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see him on a team with a good offensive line because he had a good offensive line last year, and you throw him into the mix for a team that's contending. I just pay attention to his impact at Oregon State of all places and how good they became when he was in a rhythm. I'm so excited by this thought of put him into the mix with one of these teams that we're talking about that is contending for the playoff and just watch him go to work. He could be, and I think should be, a 1,500-yard rusher if everything goes according to plan and he finishes the season fully healthy if he goes to the right team.
He ain't doing that in the SEC.
You won't bet?
Yeah, I do. Can I give you a hot take? I've been doing a lot of defensive study breakdowns. I don't think that you have a back in the SEC this year that has over 1,200 yards. I do think that the SEC this year defensively will be better than the last 2 years. Outside of Georgia, looking at it as a whole, I think that they'll be overall better. And I don't think that I'm talking about the only back that I think can get there. You know who it is? ATN. So only one. Because he's got the personnel and people around him to do it. Other than
he
that,
doesn't get another DUI.
God
Look,
damn you.
I agree with you. Next year, all of the best players in college football are defensive players. And pay close attention. It is going to be a defensive year. It is going to be a year where offensive output is down. There's not as sexy a names at quarterback. They all just went on to the NFL. You're absolutely right there. But, dude, come on, man. You give him a good offensive line. I think Jalen Wright rushed for 1,000 yards, averaging like 12 carries a game at Tennessee. You give him 20 carries at Tennessee. You want to know why he only yards.
You want to know why he only had 1,000? Because when he played Alabama, when he played Missouri, when he played those other teams, he couldn't get anything going.
Yeah, like these teams don't have cupcake games on their schedule that boost their stats. I don't know, dude. If they're
I will make a bet with you that no back in the SEC has over 1,500.
Okay, deal. And then second counter bet to this, Damien Martinez is going to finish as a top 5 rusher in 2024.
Oh, I don't disagree with that. I not only do I not disagree with that, I think that you're spot on. I just don't think that – I think that defensives are going to be so much better this year that it's going to be insane. And you know what else? You know what else defenses have too that nobody's talking about? I asked Brian Kelly this other day. Did you see the clip? I don't know if you saw the clip. Joe, I keep talking to people. I think these radios and the helmets are they're benefiting defenses more than they're benefiting offenses right now.
In terms of them being able to
talk to players, getting aligned, and what the coverage is.
That doesn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.